There were times when I was young and everything started feeling lame. And the only way to fix it was to play my favorite video game. Though the years may pass us by, there's still one thing you can't deny. I am gonna need a heaping helping of 32-bit awesome. When you're a jumping robot rabbit landing on a whale, or you're running from some ninja monks who are on your trail, or just a Raccoon City rookie blasting zombie scum, you're gonna need a heaping helping of 32-bit awesome.
Hey guys, this is the Geek Jock, and this is 32-Bit Awesome, a show about why games you used to play are still awesome. This week, Jumping Flash. Jumping Flash is a really fun, classic game from the 90s, from the mid-90s. Actually launched. It was one of the launch titles for PlayStation, and it was just incredible. It was way ahead of its time, and I'll explain why. And I still play it to this day. I think it's great. It's totally trippy. It's totally over the top. It's totally ridiculous in every sense of the word. And I love it. So let's get started. Right from the onset, you are thrust into a crazy, pixelated world. I mean, look at this place. You got frogs with top hats on, purple, weird-looking AT-AT elephant monster things, homing missile launching pigs, giraffes. On the freaking second level, I'm on a frying pan that's cooking eggs. This hamburger waves at you and then shoots hamburger patties at you. Yeah, I dare you to wrap your head around that shit. You play as a robotic rabbit named Robert. Robert is the creme de la creme of some intergalactic police force, which is a funny idea. I mean, he's a rabbit, not really the most threatening creature of the animal kingdom. Like a lot of characters from the 90s, Robert is mute, except for the little onboard HUD camera thing that bounces at the top of the screen. Think of it as kind of like Jarvis from Iron Man. He keeps track of how many jet pods you have, and has cute little sayings whenever you pick up an item or get hurt. Other than that, there isn't much to Robert. The game takes an old idea of you being the character, and not giving too much background, which is what Half-Life did with Gordon Freeman, but instead of him being a man with a crowbar, you're a robotic rabbit. From what I can deduce from the opening FMV, Baron Aloha is some super rich tycoon guy of the universe. During the game, you can openly see that he has his own golf course, resort, and mechanical army of octopus spaceships. I kind of get a Hitler vibe from Mr. Aloha. He constantly has his name plastered over everything, and statues of himself. All in all, this guy's just a big asshole. Such an asshole, in fact, he wants all the best pieces of the Earth to be his own cosmic resort, which pretty much makes him a shithead too. And his sporting of a monocle and Hawaiian t-shirt revealed that this guy just doesn't give a flying fuck what you think of him, obviously. I would put him on par with other villains like Dr. Robotnik, where they're just greedy, ugly old men who like to shit on everybody's parade. Baron Aloha never lived on past the Jumping Flash series, which is kind of a shame. He certainly was a product of his time. Could you imagine a PS3 game featuring this guy as the main villain?
Never underestimate the power of science.
No way. The last, I guess, character of the game are the Moo-Moos. They don't really play a big role in the first game, but they're worth noting because they seem to be the slaves of Baron Aloha. I'm pretty sure they're the ones operating most of the boss baddies, or at least the giant octopus ships that are hauling around all the planet pieces. Moo-Moos are honestly pretty cute little guys and act as a nice comedic contrast to Baron Aloha, who I guess is pretty comedic in and of himself. As far as Jumping Flash's game mechanics go, it's pretty primitive in comparison to today's games. You enter a level, there are several jet pods, 4 of them actually, spread all around, and you try to jump to them. It's never really explained why these carrot-shaped jet pods are required. Obviously, it's simply a mechanic in the game to help give each level some form of objective. They literally spell exit once you get them all. Maybe the jet pods are needed to get to each planet, you know? Maybe Baron Aloha is like some blaster master of sorts where he hoards all the rocket fuel for himself, and finding some in this Mad Max-like universe is like stumbling upon water in an endless desert. Yeah, I think I'm gonna think of it that way. The best way to look at Jumping Flash is that it was the precursor before all other 3D platforming games. Yeah, there have been a few other games prior to its release, but it was on a major console like the PlayStation. When 3D, no one even fucking knew about it, or if people did, it was like Star Fox or Battletank or something like that. It wasn't in a first-person mode. In fact, games like Metroid Prime owe a huge amount to Jumping Flash. I mean, look at this game. It's a first-person shooter platforming game in the 3 dimension. In 1995. Think about that. It's pretty fucking amazing. The game's got standard elements such as the radar, which doesn't really tell you anything. I've been playing this game for years and I still don't know what the hell all these little symbols mean. One of the other really big things about Jumping Flash, which was in other games such as Banjo-Kazooie and Super Mario 64, was a lot of it had to do with discovery. You have to find your own path to get to each of the jet pods, which is kind of fun in and of itself. The game doesn't tell you how to get to them. There might be the occasional arrow pointing you in the proper direction, but for the most part, it's up to you. Hey, look, see that freaking whale over there? What if I can jump on that? I'm gonna try to jump on that. Yes. Yes, I can. One of the coolest things about Jumping Flash is the look-down mechanism of the gameplay. Well, because it's a first-person jumping game, which, you know, is kind of a weird concept to begin with, you have to make sure you know where you're landing, or else you would just be looking forward the whole time and you never know where the hell that your feet were gonna be. So they implement this brilliant mechanic where once you jump pretty high, Robbit looks down automatically and you can kind of guide your shadow to where you want it to go. This was fucking awesome! That means I could jump anywhere I needed to and I knew exactly where I was gonna land. Robbit has 4 weapons at his disposal. Roman candles, cherry bombs, twisters, and rockets. Everything's kind of like a firework theme. Each has their own strengths and weaknesses too. Twisters are good for the enclosed levels, rockets have homing capabilities, and Roman candles fuck everybody's shit up. You can get a power pill, which is a robot ecstasy or something like that makes Robbit go fucking totally balls crazy and invincible. I akin this concept to the classic Mario Bros. Star. I love it. I think it's fucking awesome. And the music playing while you're high as shit is pretty rockin' too, in an Eddie Van Halen sort of way.
Alright.
Now Jumping Flash does something that's very interesting, which a lot of games don't do now, which is it has a point in time system. Essentially, every level you'd come in, get the jet pods, and you have to do it as fast as you could. Which I think added a little bit to it, because the games were short. It's not like Jumping Flash was gonna, take 50 hours of your week like some crazy RPG, or, 20 hours of intense cinematics like some Metal Gear Solid game. No, you could beat the game legitimately in probably 2 to 3 hours, consistently. That being the case, the developers knew that people were gonna be able to beat the game multiple times. And in doing so, they made it to where you had a high score. It was kind of like Donkey Kong or Tetris or any of those other old school games where the high score was what you were going for. So it adds a whole new level of just beating the game. It isn't just about going through the levels, kicking Baron Aloha's ass, and getting all the jet pods. It's about actually doing it quickly and efficiently, which is where the discovery and creativeness of the platforming really, really takes hold. A part of all this point system is something I really, really enjoy and I wish games had more of, which is a bonus level. Now, if you notice here, you got this ring. Now, what does that look like to you? If you're an old school fan like me, you'll say Sonic right off the bat.
Bonus! Yeah!
Another thing that was totally fucking awesome about Jumping Flash was that you had this amazing sense of height. One of my favorite things to do with the game was just to see how high I got. I would just get to the highest point in the level and I would jump in the air and look down the whole way. They even had this great like sky sound. It was like the wind blowing to let you know, hey man, you're really high in the air right here. Be careful. There's all sorts of fun stuff in the game as well, such as fans that lift you upward, and big old bouncy boards that send you up way high, and colorful slides that send you around in a circle for no apparent reason. The music is totally kooky and ridiculous. It's not very good, but for the most part, it keeps you inside the game and lets you know, hey, this is a charming, ridiculous, stupid game. Just enjoy it. Actually, the guitar riff during the overworld of the game is pretty freaking cool. Have a listen. Cool shit, my friends. Cool shit. The end boss is definitely one of the weirdest in history. You're in this weird vortex of a dimension where all sides of the universe are clashing at once in an arena as a Baron Aloha-headed robot dances around and does wrestling moves and shoots energy beams from his nipples. You gotta think, there was a lot of really weird games back in the day. I mean, in Super Mario Brothers, you find a rat who throws bombs and a dinosaur that shoots eggs from its mouth. That sounds kind of weird. This is just a logical progression of that, or an illogical progression, I guess. I love how the final form of him is just a spinning head. It just comes at you like, ugh, it's the only part of my body that's worth fighting for anymore. I'm gonna just go crazy. That shit's awesome. They don't do that anymore. Every single boss should have like 3 freaking forms, and the last form should just be their head, which is really, really, really pissed off at you. There was a sequel to Jumping Flash 1 called Jumping Flash 2, Big Trouble in Little Moo, which I thought was pretty funny because it very much relates to the title of the classic John Carpenter's film, Big Trouble in Little China. The sequel replaces Baron Aloha as the boss with something far, far more terrifying. Captain Kabuki has got to be the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in a game. Ever. He looks like a giant blue banana wearing a leotard, and he's freaking gigantic. I think the game mentions that he weighs a bajillion tons or something like that. The game is basically the same thing, sharper graphics, same controls, same music for the overworld as well. There is an added weapon though, called the Power Wave, which totally sucks. In the second one, there's a performance option in the options menu, and it kind of acts like achievements for the 360, but you don't know how to get them, or what they are. But you can look them up online though and see what you can do, which I thought was kind of cool. It gives you another incentive what to do. It shows you which ones you've completed so far. It's pretty fun. Well folks, that's it for Jumping Flash. That about covers everything I can think of right now. This has been 32-Bit Awesome. I'm the Geek Jock. It has been my pleasure to tell you of the greatness and awesomeness of Jumping Flash. I hope to have you guys back next time. Thanks, and adios, muchachos. Adios.